Hey everybody, happy Monday. I actually love that song. I wish you could play it just a little bit better. Oh well, it is what it is. Hope everybody's doing well. It is Monday. It is May 8th. I hope everybody 2023, year of our Lord. Hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. I'm going to keep tonight's live stream exceptionally short. For those of you who are new, welcome. We are the first, the oldest, the largest, and the only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've been around for 18 years now. We've been featured on 60 Minutes and in Fortune magazine and in the Wall Street Journal, and New York Times, and Fox News and MSNBC and Newsmax, and you name it. We've been living and breathing the student loan issue on your behalf for many, 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 many years. And so we're glad that you found us. You know, we are a completely informal organization. In other words, we don't have a formal legal structure. We have no budget to speak of. So we don't have a marketing department or a legal department. We don't have any departments. All we have are normal, living, breathing people like you and like me. I'm a defaulted student loan borrower, so you know. But it turns out that all that stuff that I just said is not needed. Having a legal enterprise, a 501c3 nonprofit, or some Washington, D.C. address, all that nonsense. It's all nonsense, guys. We, the people, are way stronger than any NGO in Washington, D.C. or Manhattan or Boston could ever be. And the proof is in the pudding, guys. It was this group that made the initial public call for Joe Biden to cancel student loans by executive order. It was this group that's responsible for multiple pieces of bankruptcy legislation to have come out over many years. So if you're new to the group, let me just say that second thing I just said, bankruptcy, it turns out that bankruptcy is absolutely key to this whole entire problem. In fact, getting the constitutional right of bankruptcy returned is far, 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 far more important than this nonsense, lame cancellation gimmick that we now see Biden playing politics with. And, you know, make no mistake, guys, that thing started here, and we're thrilled that, at least on paper, a sitting president has done what we asked him to do. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's garbage. Biden's student loan cancellation was never meant to be anything meaningful. And here we are here today with that $10,000 or $20,000 loan cancellation tied up in the courts, blah, 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 blah. I think they designed that thing to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing I'll tell you right now, tonight, and you can switch off this live stream after I say it, but you need to know because it's very important. If bankruptcy rights had been restored to student loans back when we first started calling for it, say 2007 or 6, 15 years ago, longer, we would not be here today. This problem would not exist today. You probably would be done with your loans if you're of a certain age. All the nonsense that's going on with student loans right now would not even be a thing. Student loans would not even be a thing at all. If bankruptcy was returned to student loans even 10 years ago, all this nonsense about the public service loan forgiveness program and these borrower defense to repayment lawsuits that we've seen over the past decade, this would have never become a thing, guys. And so too is it still true today that unless and until we get the right of bankruptcy returned to us as it exists for all other borrowers, for all other types of loans, unless and until that happens, we're going to be begging Joe Biden or the next president forever to do something real on student loans. And what we'll get is this nonsense, much like what we've already seen. So we're glad that you joined us. I hope that you will understand your word of mouth is absolutely critical for us to succeed. So I would hope that you would help and tell everyone you know with student loans or without to come and help us. This is a working, fighting group, by the way. We're not hey, kick back, eat popcorn, and watch us fight your battle for you. That's not how this group works. There are other groups that would very happily sit you down and give you some popcorn, and they might even buy you a hot dog. And they are more than happy to have you just sit there and watch them pretend to fight this battle. That is not the way to win this battle, ladies and gentlemen. It's never been, and it never will be. Let me just turn myself around here. There I am, turned around. Okay. So tonight I want to talk very quickly. You know, it's being reported widely today that as of recently, as of today, I suppose, or in the past couple of weeks, $42 billion in public service loan forgiveness loans have to date been canceled, covering, I think, 615,000 borrowers. And to all of you who have made it through public service loan forgiveness, I salute you. You must be thrilled and relieved. Good for you. But ladies and gentlemen, we have to take 2 steps back. And by the way, if you got your loans canceled through public service, I would hope very much that you would stay in this fight with us and not forget about us, like Lisa Ansell did. Lisa Ansell got her loans, public service loan cancellation, well over a year ago, and she has redoubled her efforts because this is a far larger problem than just public service student loan cancellation. And by the way, we don't like to use the word forgiveness on this group. We're not begging for forgiveness. We're demanding cancellation at this point. But remember, guys, bankruptcy is by far and away the most important. So I think it's important that we keep this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you won't be fooled by what are going to be an avalanche of media that is favorable to the lending program. They're going to be like, "Hey, look, the Department of Education is actually doing something right. Look at all these public service, look at all these loans that they canceled." And the band will cheer, and certainly most, if not all, of the other groups will be clinking champagne and patting themselves on the back and say, "Look at what we did." And I'm sorry, guys, it's a moonwalk. It seems like a step in the right direction. It's a moonwalk. Don't be fooled. If you still have loans, don't be fooled. If you got your loans canceled, good for you. And as I said, I hope you won't pull the ladder up behind you, because this battle is only getting worse. This problem is only getting worse, even with the loan cancellation that we've been hearing about. So I just updated our figures, and I'm going to share my screen here. Going to share my screen here with you. This is the updated, as of today, version of, this is Joe Biden's student loan cancellation to date. So this is roughly about $59 billion, and that including public service loan forgiveness that we updated it for. You can see that little tiny sliver right there. The sliver in green is the amount of debt that Joe Biden has canceled in the first 2 and roughly a half years of his presidency. But ladies and gentlemen, the clinching piece of data isn't how much he's canceled, it's how much in interest is typically added onto our backs during a similar time period. Now, in 2 years, $200 billion is added on to the federal student loan portfolio in interest alone. So in 2.5 years, it's about $250 billion. So in 2.5 years, if you're canceling, say, $58 billion, but you're adding $250 billion in interest, what does that tell you? That tells you that the public service loan forgiveness cancellation does not amount to a hill of beans in the grand scheme. And again, for those of you who got your loans canceled, I'm thrilled that that happened for you. I hope that you will continue to support us in this fight. Quite frankly, and that brings up another. That's a very undelicate segue to an announcement I had to make earlier, but I didn't. If you could please donate, guys. If you could please donate, please do it, dudes. It's pretty important. If you look over there, we need, as I said, we have almost no budget to speak of, guys. The money that we raise is all in the form of personal gifts. And it's not a lot. Like, for example, this week we have to raise around 180, maybe $150 at this point. So I'm hoping that 15 people will donate $10. Like, and this is actually for last week, to cover last week's expenses. Please donate, dudes, so I can shut up about it. I hate fundraising. I shouldn't have to do it all the time, because we've got 1.4 million people in our group. So raising $150 should not be super hard, but it is. That's just welcome to my world, I guess. But please help, guys, if you appreciate all that we've done over many years, all that we're doing, all that we've done over the past 3 years, and especially if you got your loans canceled through public service, we claim a little bit of credit for that. Just please show us some love so I can shut up about it. So yeah, guys, the other groups are going to be kissing and crying and clinking the champagne and all this. But guys, I'm telling you, it is a moonwalk, and not a Neil Armstrong moonwalk, a Michael Jackson moonwalk. Like, call it a step in the right direction, but if you're walking the wrong way on one of those fast escalators at the airport, the little flat escalator things, yeah, that's what this is, guys. It's walking backwards. So that's kind of the critical point. And, we should also say 615,000 people got their loans canceled through public service, and that's great. And that's good for them. And if it's you should be glad to be done, but you shouldn't give up. You shouldn't abandon this fight, because, ladies and gentlemen, there are 43.2 million federal student loan borrowers still out here, or maybe 43 million instead of 43.2 million, or 42.7 million or something, whatever that math works out to. I probably should look at the most current Department of Education data. I haven't brushed up on these numbers in quite some time. So, but yeah, guys, what I'm telling you is that it's basically a rounding error. 615,000 people is almost nothing in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about 50 plus million people in the country with student loan debt. And I don't want to bash on the public service loan forgiveness program, people, because I know if you're a teacher or a public servant or whatever, it's very important to you. I get that. But, I just have to say, some of the people who are getting their loans canceled through this public service include some of the shystiest people out there. Like ECMC, for example, is a nonprofit student loan company. They make their living defeating student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. Well, the lawyers that are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at this disgusting, vile company called ECMC, they can get their loans canceled because of public service loan forgiveness. So these are some of the worst sharks out there that are perpetuating and causing just massive harms to us, the normal Joe Blow, blue collar, whatever, student loan borrowers. And they're getting their loans canceled through public service loan forgiveness. Like, if that's not a cruel, vicious irony, I don't know what is. And, similarly, I know tons of, nurses and doctors we have in our group, you name it. We have a ton of people who the fact that they're not working for a nonprofit, so they work for for-profits, like a for-profit hospital or a for-profit whatever, but they do exactly the same job as a doctor or a nurse or a teacher, same thing, who work at nonprofits. So they're doing exactly the same job. They get paid roughly the same, if not the same. But yet they don't qualify for public service loan forgiveness. And this is kind of a bigger issue that just goes to show how fucking stupid, pardon my French, the whole nonprofit world has become. These are not your food pantries and soup kitchens of decades past when we talk about nonprofits. These are not orphanages. In many cases, these are actually student loan lending companies who are the worst sorts of predators. Often there are these fly-by-night online colleges that are like Liberty University, for example, that sucks $500 million a year out of the federal student loan program, and all colleges in general. I like to pick on Liberty because they're particularly egregious, but most colleges are nonprofits, guys. And so it's really a world today where nonprofit has lost its original meaning. Nonprofit in name only is probably more the rule than the exception these days. So anyways, again, I'm thrilled for people who have gotten their loans canceled through public service loan forgiveness. But I will just say one last time, if bankruptcy rights had been returned to these loans back when we started calling for it back in 2006 or 7, the public service loan forgiveness success rate, it wouldn't be, I don't know what it is now. It's probably around 10 or 15%. It would be closer to 75 or 80% or 90% even. Same thing with income contingent repayment. Same thing with all of the IDR programs. The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution for a very good reason. And this student loan monstrosity, this lending beast that is the federal student loan program, it's exactly what they wanted to avoid. Same thing with private student loans, by the way. Those are also uniquely stripped of the bankruptcy rights that the founding fathers called for in the Constitution, ahead of the power to raise an army, ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to coin currency in the Constitution. So yeah, guys, don't be fooled by all the propaganda media that we're going to be hit with. 95 or more percent of all the media that we see around the student loan issue, it's propaganda, guys. It just is going to be hit with. That's just a fact. And we've been doing this for many years. The media used to be far, far, far better on student loans than it is now today. But that's another story for another night. And by the way, if there are any reporters watching this tonight, we have 5, 6, 7 or more research findings that are screaming to be reported on, like the fact that the government makes a profit on defaulted loans, like the fact that older people now outnumber younger people with student loan debt, and on average, they owe 300% more, like the fact that before the pandemic, nearly 60% of all borrowers had stopped making payments on their loans. I could go on for 4 more, if not 10 more bullet points, but there's a lot of unreported, very important and significant news that we on this group have broken. And we've broken news in decades past in very good, respectable media, like 60 Minutes, like the Chronicle of Higher Education, like Inside Higher Ed, like the Wall Street Journal, many other places. And our research is top notch. All of our research claims, all of our findings and our claims are very easily vetted and verified, typically using nothing more than publicly available Department of Education data. So if there are any reporters out there looking for a strong scoop, any uncorrupted reporters, I should say, some reporters who still have an ounce of integrity in them, which unfortunately I can't say that about almost any reporters today in the higher education space, certainly in the student loan space. I can name the number of actual good reporters who I still respect on probably about 5 fingers at this point, if not less. But if you are a reporter and you've got some courage and you care about the truth, and you want to report important truths about student loans, then I would strongly suggest you contact me, or even better yet, well, not better yet, but another thing that you can do is look at our most recent couple years worth of articles. And if you go to studentloanjustice.medium.com, you can see them all there. And most of these stories, another great headline and this actually was broken by business, Ayelet Sheffy in Business Insider, but it's more true today. Over a third of U.S. states, student loan debt now exceeds the entire state budget of that state. That's true. That got a little bit of play in the media. I was stunned that it didn't get picked up by other news organizations, but that just goes to show how propagandized almost the entire mainstream media has become, guys. It's not a joke. It's very true. It's very serious, guys. The truth matters. The truth really does matter, guys, and we have our finger on the truth. And it's quite sad that I even have to try this hard to get reporters to look at our stuff. 15 or 20 years ago, every time we made a research finding, I'd send it out to a reporter, and almost always the first reporter I sent stuff to would report it. Now it's almost like we have to beg and plead to get reporters in the mainstream media to report our stuff. It's disgusting. I mean, it truly is disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's going on. And it's not just student loans. This is a far wider problem across this country. And that's troubling. But the bigger picture is not really our problem. We are focusing only and entirely on student loans. So I'm going to read some of your questions and comments now. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, then by all means, throw them out. Hey, Joanna from Kearns from Florida is with us tonight. Joanna says, I contacted Rick Scott's office as well. Good point, Joanna. I forgot to mention, guys, we're trying to get everybody in this group to get us into a meeting, a phone conference with both of your senators and your House rep. That's 3 people. Everybody's got 2 senators and a House rep. We were meeting all last week with legislators and their staff. It's almost always their staff, by the way. And that's fine. We will be meeting again pretty much all week this week, although we have no meetings today, by the way. But we need to I would like to meet with all 535 members of Congress. That's 100 senators, 435 House reps. And that will only happen when you make it happen. When you make it happen. This is all about you. These are your loans. This is your problem. And only when you help us fight are we going to get anything done. So please make it your mission over the next month or 2 or maybe 3. 2 would be better. Call both of your senators, call your House rep, and tell them you want to get a phone meeting with their staff, ideally with their judiciary staffers. Tell them you want to bring Alan Collins from Student Loan Justice onto the meeting. I can do all of the talking, by the way. I'm pretty good at this after 18 years. If you want to do all the talking, hey, more power to you. Do it. But I think most people don't feel super comfortable answering all the tough questions, and a lot of people get really nervous talking to congressional staff, and they don't know how to answer the questions, and they get flustered, and they start just talking about their own personal situations, which never works. So don't put yourself through that. It doesn't really help you. It doesn't help anyone else if that's your situation. Bring me on and I will answer all the tough questions. I'll make all the most important points. And the point is this: we've got to get bankruptcy rights returned to these loans. That's number 1 by far. Loan cancellation will happen, but not unless and not until we get our bankruptcy rights back. Hey, Joanna says, they are horrible. There they were supposed to send me a privacy form. Big surprise, I got an empty email. Oh, yeah. Don't be put off by the inefficiency of congressional staffers. You have to sit on these people. You have to be firm, be polite if you want or not, but do whatever you need to do to get it going. Get a meeting with us and your member of Congress going. Don't take no for an answer. You are constituent. supposedly they have to listen to you. So don't take no for an answer. Use the media in your local area. You know, that's another thing we're asking everyone to do, is to get as Joanna did, by the way. Congratulations, Joanna, last week. We're asking everyone to also get a letter to the editor of your local newspaper published, where you call for the return of bankruptcy rights and or student loan cancellation. Right now, we're in a mixed Congress where we've got to get through to Republican members of the House of Representatives. And so I don't even talk about student loan cancellation that much, guys, because really there's kind of no point. We're not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation unless until we get the right of bankruptcy returned to us in the first place. So talk about whatever you want, obviously. We are 100% gung-ho for student loan cancellation, by the way. It was this group that started the petition way before anyone almost was talking about student loan cancellation by executive order. It was this group that launched that whole concept into the zeitgeist. So make no mistake that we are 1,000%, 1,000,000% on board with student loan cancellation by executive order. But as a practical matter, that will probably only happen meaningfully, not this $10,000, $20,000 bullshit from Biden. Will only happen meaningfully when we get the constitutional right of bankruptcy returned to these loans. So, be strong. Don't take no for an answer. Don't let the junior little lightweight staffers fresh out of college. Don't let them blow smoke up your ass. They work for you. Get a meeting with them and get a letter to the editor published. And maybe the last thing I will say tonight, and I'm sorry if I missed some of your comments. I can't always see them all. The last thing I will say tonight is especially if you're new to the group, get into the habit of doing our daily actions. You can see them right here, right there. bit.ly/SLJ daily action. You can also go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and you can see the daily actions. We do daily actions 5 days a week, maybe. We've been traveling lately, so it's been a little more difficult. But if you've never done a daily action, I would strongly suggest that you go there or there and do, I don't know, a couple of weeks worth of our past daily actions. These things are very, very important. Imagine this, guys. We have 1.4 million people in our group. If 1.4 million people were doing our daily actions every day, this problem would be solved in a matter of months or maybe even weeks. That would be something we've never, ever seen before anywhere. Can you imagine 1.4 million people retweeting our stuff? Can you imagine 1.4 million people melting the phone banks of important senators and congressmen and women in Washington, D.C.? We are the oldest, but most importantly, the largest group of citizens fighting this battle, ladies and gentlemen. But that is only meaningful when you join us, me, Joanna, Lisa, Ed, many other people, probably tens of thousands of people. I can't count. I can't name them all, but we have a nuclear size strength muscle to flex, dudes. And that is only meaningful when it happens. And that's only going to happen when you take, I don't know, maybe 45 seconds out of your day and do our daily actions. Got to have a Twitter account. Sorry about that. I hate Twitter. You hate Twitter. Everybody hates Twitter. Twitter works. Twitter actually works, guys. And our daily actions are usually only Twitter stuff, like retweet this, retweet that. Sometimes we ask people to make a few phone calls, that kind of thing. Very quick, very easy to do, and very cathartic also. You know, our core group of warriors on this group, and you know who you are. I salute you. I think they will tell you that doing our daily actions feels really good, and it is really helpful. Because really, all that we do on this group is tell the truth. And telling the truth is always a good thing, I think. Certainly on the student loan issue, the truth is what is needed to set us free. And in the words of Jesus, Jesus himself. So okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there at that. I've gone a little bit over, but please get ready for this week. Please, please make a donation so I can shut up about it. Please get in the habit of doing our daily actions. Please spread the word about this group. We're it, guys. We're it. If there was another group actually fighting this battle as it needed to be fought, I would join that group. That group is us. We're it. We're it, guys. And a lot hangs in the balance of how hard we fight. So take heart. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow. Godspeed. God bless everyone.